In today's video, we start out in a typical kitchen to illustrate a point with pots and pans. In this household, they're using this metal rack for storing their pots and pans. And as you can see, they've been kind of creative using the griddle pan to hold two pots. This one is a double boiler, so it's a pot within a pot. We come up here, separate. There's a lid inside that for storage. We come to the frying pans and we see 3 frying pans with a lid on top and each smaller pan inside the larger one. Of course, the problem with this is that this pan can end up scratching the non-stick coating of the pan below it. So over time, that could be bad for your pans. Possible solutions for this would be using an S-hook to hang your pans and pots from. But with this arrangement, there isn't much room for that. Possibly going over to the wall, but you got to make sure that they don't get in the way of the other things that you need to access. So for this kitchen, those aren't really good options, but perhaps this is a solution. From Cammex, the Cutie Cut. It's a pot with a flat edge. And thanks to the Home Depot Seeds program, we're going to see what this is all about. According to the label, this cookware is designed to stand vertically, both the lid and the pot, and there's no need to insert one pot in the other, thereby supposedly saving some space. The cooking surface is actually non-stick. They call it Germany coating, but it's actually Greblon, and you can use this cookware with your gas, electric, ceramic, induction, or halogen cook stove. Unboxing reveals 2 simple components: a lid, which has a flat bottom, a silicone gasket, a wooden handle, and a pot that is flat on one side, has a coating, which is kind of rough to the feel. According to the instructions, we need to season this, and a bottom that is not black, but nice polished aluminum, and this can be used with all cooking surfaces. The black gives it the look that it's cast iron, but actually it's aluminum. This particular pot is referred to as a milk pan. I guess you could do milk in it. One of the nice things about the lid, because it has a gasket on it, it actually can serve as a very low pressure cooker, but you could also tilt the lid for venting or for straining of liquid, which is nice, although I'm a bit concerned that the handle, if you're steaming, your hand might get in the way. I would think that it'd be better off if it was off to one side or to the back, but I'll have to see in actual cooking if that becomes an issue. But before we wash and season this pot, let's see how it literally stacks up. At our countertop, we have our 3 frying pans stacked together. Behind it, you see our deep fry and our milk pot together, stacked vertically with their corresponding lids in front. And you can see that this doesn't take much space to stack, though you have to contend with the handles. Same as you have to do with this. We're using a lot more space here, about 1.5 hands, where this is just the actual width of the largest pan and its height. So depending on what kind of empty storage you have, this may or may not work, but I really don't think that its advantage is storage, because if you have 4 or 5 of these together, now you have to allow enough room to get them out, because if you get them too close together, you might end up with a domino theory if one of these should fall over, and then you'd end up scratching the outside of your pot or pan. So I'm not sure that these are great for storage, but I do want to check them out for their ability to cook. While washing the milk pan, I notice that the handle and pot were loose. Now, looking on the back side, there's a Phillips screwdriver, and try as I may, I could not get this screw to tighten. So, it's loose. Not wanting a milk pan with a loose handle, I took it apart. You have a screw and a washer, and that's it. So I'm thinking maybe the screw is bottoming out. So I was able to find a washer in my garage, and I'm going to add that washer to this one to see if it'll allow me to tighten the handle. And speaking of handle, this is Bakelite, not wood. It's just a plastic that has a very nice grain look to it. Not so much a feel because it's very smooth and almost soft. But in essence, it's plastic, not wood. After quite a while and a lot of work, I was finally able to get the handle attached so it didn't rattle or shake. But it took replacing the original screw because it stripped out, and I had to put in 3 washers in order for this to work. So, things can go wrong in manufacturing, but I would have thought that their QC would have caught that this handle was loose, and they would have corrected it. But that didn't happen. Anyway, it's not to say that all their pots are going to be this way, because I do have this one and there are no issues with the handle. So it may be a one-off, but if it is, you should just return the pot. In my case, because of the review, I wanted to get this to work, so I futz around with it, and I'm sure I avoided whatever warranty it has, but new screw, 3 washers, and now it's good as new. With our induction stove set at medium heat, elevation 2,000 feet, we get fairly even heating. You can see larger bubbles over towards the right-hand side, but there's boiling throughout the bottom of the pan, which is a good indication that the aluminum is spreading the heat around. So there isn't a super hot spot, although one could say maybe there's the hottest part where we're getting the most induction heat transfer. Of course, the Bakelite handle stays cool to the touch. When you get up here, it's a little too warm to leave your fingers on. So you do get a lot of heating all around the side walls of this pan. There's still some residue left on the milk pan at the bottom. I was rendering down some banana liquid, and it's tough stuff to remove, but this is coated and it should have all came out, but it didn't. What I could say about this pan is that as far as storage convenience, it really needs a leg to stand on. If it doesn't have some place for this handle to rest, then it's going to fall over, and it needs a level place to be laying down on. So something flat like this is great. If you happen to have grates in your kitchen, then it's going to be more of an issue for you to actually use these. Cooking wise, they seem to be fine. I don't have any issues with that. It's a little awkward. By that I mean it's just awkward to look at because it's not your typical looking pans and pots. But the problem that I see is that if you can't store them on something flat, then they really do take up a fair amount of space, because then you have to put one inside the other, which they don't want you to do. I also find that the inside is still rough. You can hear that. It's not a smooth coating that they use for non-stick. And it's a little less so on the bigger pot. The lid is nice, but again, their ideal is that you place these vertically. And my fear is that if you line them all up and this knocks over one, then they all come tumbling down. So as far as storage savings, I don't think that's the big sell for this. I do like the fact that the lid can be used to vent or to strain easily. The Bakelite handles, of course, don't get warm when cooking. And because they're not real wood, they're not going to blister and crack on you with washing. So would I recommend people buying this? Well, only if you buy into the storage concept and you have the space, which is what we don't have. And of course, we don't have the flat board on here. But so for me, it's not a space issue. It's the fact that they're just a little awkward because of their shape. And these work fine. You know, and I stack them one inside the other, and there's probably some degradation of the coating because of that, but I'm fine with that. To me, this is just a little bit too different, though I do like the convenience of the lid, but not enough to go out and switch out my entire set for these. So when the missus came home, I told her about these pots and pans, and she said, well, what if we do this with at least a small milk pan? Just put the handle through one of the openings, and it kind of gets it out of the way, and we're still able to get underneath it. It's a bigger issue, of course, for the big deep fry pan, but she also came up with this solution for the lids. Again, we're just dropping the handle in between the grate. There's a potential solution for some of the issues that we've come across. Of course, you're still stuck with the bigger fry pan and what to do with that, and it obviously cannot live on top of the microwave. So we'll have to get a little bit more creative with that. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you so much for watching.